everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the future of the Ladynoir relationship because I enjoy making you all cry on a Saturday, because why not? No, I'm kidding. Just, we all know things haven't been going well, and in this video, if you haven't seen Kuroneko, please don't watch this video because I'm about to spoil the episode for you. And if you did see episode 23, okay, the cat's going for it. Things definitely weren't great between them. I know we did kind of sort of get a resolution right at the end, but in my opinion, it wasn't amazing. I didn't feel like this episode fixed the relationship, and as we see later on, we've seen that kiss scene from Risk. She kisses him and he looks kind of annoyed at her, so it seems certain that this relationship definitely hasn't been fixed. There's still some stuff going on, even if Ladybug thinks everything is okay. Cat Noir doesn't seem to be okay, so that's what we're going to discuss. First we're going to establish the current state of the relationship, and then we're going to get into some theories, some ideas I have for what their relationship, as in what could happen to it in the finale and for the rest of the season. It doesn't seem like in Penultime we're going to get much relationship development between them, just because of the nature of the episode. We're going to have 4 new heroes debuting. I don't think there's going to be much time for Ladybug and Cat Noir to have an in-depth heart-to-heart. It seems like this is definitely going to be waiting until the finale, and Penultime seems to be like a last-minute filler fun episode before the finale kills us all at the same time. That's what it seems like is going on from the 2 trailers we've got so far. So first let's break down the relationship as things have progressed this season. So episodes 1 to 13, everything was fine, everything was great. Right at the end of episode 13 though, Cat Noir did start to feel kind of left out. In episode 14, Senti Bubbler, Rena Rouge was like, we don't really need you for this, and as a result he destroyed a chimney. Episode 15, Ladybug put him in the bin, and then later on Marinette said, that's why we put things we don't want in the bin. Great, I know you didn't know it was him, but obviously that hurt his feelings because of what had happened earlier in the day. Episode 16, Hexan, Ladybug gives her Miraculous to someone else and doesn't even tell him, and he gets pretty annoyed. I mean, first of all, I would have been annoyed as well. Like, how would he have known that Ladybug was safe? He wouldn't have, because she didn't say anything to him. However, the episode ended quite nicely with her telling him that he is irreplaceable. The episode 17, Rocketeer, he found out that Alia and Nino are Rena Rouge and Carapace, and that they also know each other's identities, which does kind of make Ladybug a hypocrite, because she's always said we can't know each other's identities, which is why Chloe doesn't get to use a Be Miraculous again, among some other reasons. That was the initial reason that we got in, for example, Miraculous. So yeah, great. Then episode 18, Wishmaker. Honestly, their relationship was kind of okay in that episode, but we definitely saw the after effects it was having on Adrian. It made him just so unsure about whether he wanted to be Cat Noir in the future anymore. Episode 19, Simple Manner Things, were great. Episode 20, Chilin.
None of my business, it's none of my business.
And episode 21, Dearest Family. Oh my god, their relationship in that episode, their working partnership was amazing in Dearest Family. They work so well together in that episode. You wouldn't think anything was going on. Then episode 22, Ephemeral, from the bits that they remember now, because obviously there's no point discussing the bits that didn't happen because they didn't happen anymore, they don't remember them happening. Ladybug calls Cat Noir 14 times. Could you calm down? Where are you trying to go? Right? She calls him 14 times and doesn't tell him why, and as a result he decides to stay at home and watch the news. It was a choice. I won't get into the continuity issues in this video. I stand by what I said in my Kuroneko commentary. Kuroneko should have been episode 19. That would have made so much more sense, but okay, whatever. Anyway, so in episode 23, where Kuroneko actually is, Plaid convinces Adrian to finally show his face at the fight. He does, but he misses the fight, and he tries to help Ladybug, but she's about to de-transform back. She's got like, what, 5 of the Miraculouses? 4 of the Miraculous? I forgot how many people were there. She's got loads of the Miraculouses to collect. They're all in different locations. If I was Ladybug, I would have said no as well. The logistics of it, they were just all over the place. There was no time to explain. However, she didn't need to shout at him in order to do that, but Okay, so she shouts at him and he also kind of feels like she's leaving him out. And as a result, on top of everything else I've just explained, even though they had a great relationship in Dearest Family, okay, and in Simple Man, and presumably also in Jilin, but I don't know, none of us know. On top of everything else, that's definitely like the last straw, so as we all know, he rescinds his Miraculous. Ladybug is pretty upset when she finds the ring. She doesn't understand what she's done wrong, but thankfully, Plag calls her out, and also, unthankfully, Plag manages to make the reason why he rescinded his Miraculous because Ladybug doesn't love him. Thanks, mate. However, it is understandable that Ladybug does believe that because to her she doesn't actually know what's going on with Cat Noir. It seems that the only problem he does have with her is that she still doesn't love him back. So I do understand why she thinks that, because he hasn't told her what's going on and she's not a mind reader. That's why I keep saying they're both at fault here. Yeah, she made him feel like that, but he hasn't told her, so she can't do anything about it. If you don't tell someone they've hurt your feelings in whatever way, you can't do anything. You can't do anything about it, you know what I mean? They're both at fault. Thankfully, Plag manages to get the ring back and he takes it back to Adrian, and they then commence to spend an entire afternoon and evening restructuring who Adrian is as a person so he can have a different transformation, which, please, besties, don't ever change yourself for a person. If they don't like you for you, then walk away. Just, please, seriously. Like, please don't change yourself for other people. That's not good. Honestly, Adrian this whole season has been kind of having identity issues. We saw it in Lies, we saw it a bit in Wishmaker, and I always felt like Adrian's personality is somewhere in between. So as Adrian, the way he presents himself at school and in front of his father, he's quite calm and slightly serious, not Felix level serious, but calm, slightly serious, very gentleman-like. Whereas Cat Noir is like the opposite extreme, where he's cheeky and flirty and funny, all the things Adrian isn't allowed to be. So Adrian has been restricted his whole life, forced to stay at home, but the moment he gets freedom to do literally anything he could want, he goes to the exact opposite extreme of his personality. I feel like his true personality lies somewhere between the two, because I still think, you know, Cat Noir is a good and kind person and can be a gentleman if he wanted to, but we all know that Adrian also wants to be more Cat Noir-like in his life. Like my favourite Adrian moments in the show are like when his Cat Noir shows. So like at the end of Troublemaker, when him and Marinette are talking at her locker and they're talking about what was on television the previous night, and then in Reversa, and what does Adrian say? He's like, oh, were you spying? Oh my god, I love that moment so much. I love it so much. I really like it when his Cat Noir shows through. I feel like those moments, like in Reversa and Troublemaker, is closer to who Adrian actually is. So there's that going on, but seriously, please don't change yourself for someone else. So Ladybug does really like Catwalker, and kind of her brain recognises the similarities to Adrian, since she does kind of start to fall for him. She has a bit of a crush on him, I'd say, with all the blushing and the stuttering and how she can't concentrate to do the Lucky Charm properly. So there's definitely something going on there. She does kind of talk to Catwalker about her struggles with Cat Noir and kind of how she views him at the minute, and she does show remorse in front of Catwalker for what happened. And whilst I am very happy she showed remorse, you really need to show it in front of Cat Noir. Now I know we know they're the same people, but she doesn't know that. So it would be helpful if she showed she was sorry to Cat Noir's face rather than Catwalker, you know what I mean? She decides Catwalker is too perfect and fires him, and Cat Noir comes back and he apologises for being irresponsible and causing all the trouble of her having to find a new Cat Miraculous holder, and she tells him he is irreplaceable. But I did not believe her at all. At the end of Haxan, I believed it. And maybe it's just because it was in Portuguese. I often have trouble, I think it's because of my autism, I often have trouble, first of all, identifying emotion in people's voices in English, let alone other languages. I struggle much more in other languages, trying to work out people's emotions from their voices alone. I'm usually okay with Miraculous because it's teamed with the visuals, but at the end of this episode I was sat here, I was like, I do not believe you one bit. Like, you have been replacing him all season. Since pretty much Gang of Secrets, you've replaced him with Alia. Even though you don't think you have done. So maybe you should, you know, practice what you're saying, you know? You've said it now, so perhaps you should show it, because he obviously still feels like that after the kiss in Risk. Because he looks pretty annoyed. If that was Cat Noir any other day of the week and things were fine between them, he would be absolutely over the moon that Ladybug had kissed him on the cheek for seemingly absolutely no reason. But he doesn't. He looks surprised at first because he probably wasn't expecting it, and then looks like he kind of wants to punch her, so okay. It also, in my opinion, I really don't get the feeling that Ladybug missed Cat Noir. She was like, oh my god, Catwalk, it is amazing. And to me, it just seemed like she resigned herself to having Cat Noir back because she couldn't physically concentrate around Catwalker. I definitely think Kuroneko was useful for Adrian finally being able to see how Ladybug is struggling, and she's like, I've got this whole team of superheroes now, it's not just him and me. Like, I think he always understood that, but she's freezing him out, and she needs to find out how he feels. And yes, I know, like I said before, she's not a mind reader. However, I understand why he doesn't want to tell her after the events of, for example, Rocketeer, when she couldn't even tell him that Alia and Nino, or at least Rena Rouge and Carapace, know who the other person is. That should have been something she told him. And then also she called him 14 times in Ephemeral, and she couldn't even tell him why. So why, if she can't even tell him those two things, the Ephemeral one being quite simple to tell him why, and Rena Rouge and Carapace being a bit more serious, but if she told him ages ago, I don't think he would have minded. Like, if she explained the situation to him, it's like, I can't think of a good enough excuse to get them alone, there's a big showdown happening, I really need these two, let's just go for it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he would have been really understanding if she told him pretty soon after and he hadn't found out from two other people. So why would he want to confide in her now? So the issue is quite obviously communication between the two of them. So now let's kind of like get into the theories moving forward. So like I said, communication. However, with the state of the relationship, which I've just gone through and described, I don't feel like a sit-down conversation is gonna help, because these things have been going on for a while now. Like I said about Alia and Nino, if Ladybug had told Cat Noir either in that episode or not long after and explained the context of the situation, I feel like he would have been really understanding about it. But because she never told him, never seemed to have any intention of telling him, and he found out from someone else who also should have been keeping it a secret anyway, he was obviously very hurt by that. So it's gonna take more than them just sitting down and having a cup of tea together to resolve the situation. And as we know, like I've said before, with the kiss and risk, he still seems very annoyed with her. Why exactly, I'm not 100% sure, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be much relationship development between them and Penalty because of the nature of the episode. There's going to be so many heroes. It looks amazing though, I'm really excited for Penalty. I can't wait to see it. There just seems to be like so much going on in Penalty that there's not going to be any time for relationship development of any kind. Maybe some character development, hopefully some character development for Chloe. I hope every single episode she's in, but it never happens, which is wonderful. But I definitely think in the finale things will reach their peak. So I felt like Kuroneko was going to be Adrian's peak, but it wasn't. And at the time I was kind of like, about it. But then I remembered the kiss and risk, and it is also kind of more indicative of Adrian's personality. Because of the way he's been raised and the way he's forced to act, he holds everything inside himself until he can't let go, whereas Marinette is the complete opposite, and she is allowed to express who she is around her parents and at home and at school and in public. Her parents don't really care. I'm not saying they don't care about her, but she doesn't have to have like a public image in the same way Adrian does for his father, if that makes sense. I'm not saying Marinette's parents don't care, because they do care, but it's in a very, very different way to the way Gabriel cares about Adrian, if that makes sense. So that's why Marinette had her emotional peak in Gang of Secrets with a bit of a blip in Senti Bubbler. Hers happened a lot more earlier because I guess we could argue she's under a lot more stress, but also because she feels more free to express her emotions. Also at the end of Heart Hunter, she also kind of broke down in front of Luca as well outside the park. So Marinette tends to be a lot more open with her emotions because of her upbringing. Adrian is a bit more closed off because, again, of his upbringing. So I guess it makes sense, because Kuroneko wasn't his absolute peak, that he will peak, his emotions will peak in the finale. And he needs to tell someone how he's feeling. So if we remember the finale description, it says that Adrian will finally confront his father, which I am so excited to see. I cannot wait for that. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, I hope you do a good job, mate. I hope you do a good job. It's gonna be wonderful. So I then think he could go on to confront Ladybug, and hopefully he'll get like all the nastiness out on his dad, maybe shout at him, and then he's like, right, okay, I'm going out, you're not going to tell me to stop, and he goes to see Ladybug. I want them to have, at the very least, a heated discussion. I don't want them to shout at each other because I love them both dearly, and whilst they are both at fault in this situation, I also feel really bad for both of them because they are just teenagers, they got a lot going on. I wouldn't have acted any better if I was 14. Honestly, I'm 25, I probably still wouldn't act much better than that, to be honest, if I was in this situation. So I do feel bad for them, so I don't want them to scream at each other. Although I'm not saying that won't happen, I'm just saying I don't want them to shout at each other because I'll cry. That's why I don't want them to do it. And he will finally, hopefully impress upon her that the reason he is upset is not because he is in love with her and she doesn't love him back, it's because he is being left out. And he will want to know why she's been ignoring him. And I think at this point Ladybug will either tell him about Cat Blanc, because that's a pretty good reason why she hasn't been confiding in him, because obviously Cat Blanc, even though Marinette no longer remembers how that happened, he knew that she was called Marinette even after she purified the Akuma. So that is one reason why she has been pulling away from him and not confiding in him. And then of course she told Alia her identity. Now I know at the end of episode 16, Hakusan, she did very vaguely kind of allude to telling somewhere else her identity, but according to, I think it was Anita, not Fairy, yeah. Anita had said to someone on Instagram, Anita is one of the ambassadors with Fairy if you didn't know, she had said that yes, Ladybug did tell him, kind of very vaguely, however he wasn't paying attention, he was quite upset in that moment. As you saw in episode 16 yourselves, he had absolutely pretty much no reaction to her saying that, and you think he would say something more, and he never, you know, mentions it again in the following episodes. That's definitely something he would bring up. For example, next episode, 17 Rocketeer, when he finds out about Alia and Nino and their identities. I feel that would have been a good point for him to bring up in the episode. Oh, well, someone also knows Ladybug's identity, but he doesn't at any point going forward after Hakusan. So it's shown us that, yeah, Ladybug vaguely told him, but he doesn't actually know yet. So even if she only tells him about one of those things, either about Cat Blanc or someone else knowing her identity, I don't even think she would necessarily have to tell him who knows her identity. If she just said, I told someone, I think he would be pretty annoyed with both. I think he'd take the Cat Blanc one a bit better. He would take someone else knowing absolutely terribly, in my opinion, because he's wanted to know since forever. I can't remember the name of the episode where he started asking her, but he's always wanted to know since season 1, so I don't think he's gonna take that very well. I don't think he's gonna take that very well. He's probably gonna get angry with her at that point for not telling him sooner. Again, he's being left out. Even if he disagrees with her decision, I feel like he will respect it as long as she told him, you know, ages ago. If she told him that in episode 4, 5 or 6, he would have been like, yeah, okay, I wish you'd told me first, then I am a little annoyed at you, but you've done it now, we can't do anything to change it, thank you for telling me. But it's been probably a couple of months by this point, by the time we get from Gang of Secrets to the finale, so she hasn't told him, which will make everything inevitably worse. So I think he'll get angry with her, and then in the heat of the moment she'll say, I preferred Catwalker. And then Cat Noir's gonna be like, oh well, guess what? It was me! I was also Catwalker! And then everything's just gonna get even worse, and I think at that point we will have Adrian reveal his identity, which could be the reason why Ladybug is then crying in the bathroom. She has at that point lost him completely, because like, she loves Adrian, I'm not denying that. She kind of had a crush on Catwalker, but he was too perfect, he was very like Adrian. And Cat Noir is supposedly one of her best friends, someone she trusts more than anyone else. And she loses all 3 of them in one go because she's been basically ignoring him. I would cry like that as well, because she looks utterly defeated in Adrian's bathroom. It's not like I'm a bit upset, it's like my heart has been torn out of me. Please somebody help me sort of upset, you know what I mean? She looks absolutely devastated. And I hope at this point they don't get together. Now hear me out, you all know how much I love the Love Square. Every single Monday we make a video about the Love Square and we discuss the Love Square, okay? You all know how much I love the Love Square, and I hope one day in the future Adrian and Marinette do get together. But with the way the love square stands right now, that would be the most toxic relationship ever. Oh, even if they reveal their identities to each other, it would be so toxic, right? In my opinion, Adrian definitely does have a crush on Marinette. And as we saw in Ephemeral and as we saw in Cat Blank, he is immediately fine with Marinette being Ladybug. And he has said before he will always love the girl behind the mask. And I think that's completely true. And I think he's probably so relieved every single time he's found out that Ladybug is actually Marinette, because he does kind of have a crush on her. Have you seen the way he's been acting around her in this season? In Psychomedian, in Mr. Pigeon 72, in the guilt trip boiler room scene. Have we all forgot about the guilt trip boiler room scene? I haven't. I think about it every single day. I've thought about it every single day since when did the episode air? Like in May? April? It's nearly been a year. I'm still thinking about it. I need to get a life. Either way, what I'm trying to say is that every single time Marinette has been revealed to be Ladybug, he has had absolutely zero problem accepting that. However, as we saw in Ephemeral, she has had many problems accepting that Adrian is Cat Noir. She had kind of like an existential crisis in Ephemeral about it, and Luca had to be like, okay, calm down, it's fine, don't worry. Because she wasn't handling it well. And you know, it's fine, she quite clearly doesn't like Cat Noir like that. He's obviously not her type, and that's fine. We're not gonna force her to date him if he's not her type. That's what you should do. If you don't like them, don't date them, besties, okay? Don't force yourself just because no, just because someone likes you, if you don't like them back, don't force yourself, alright? Don't do it, okay? Alright? Not that I should be the one to give out dating advice, but anyway. But the Adrian she sees, the one she knows at school, isn't really him. And first of all, that's kind of on Adrian. It's a struggle he has, and he really needs to work out who he is just for his own mental sake. But I feel like a relationship between them shouldn't happen until, first of all, he's forgiven her for everything that's happened, but second of all, he is more comfortable in who he is and has a more clear idea about his identity. I'm not saying he has to change who he is completely immediately, but I feel like he should at least start working towards working out who he is as a person before him and Marinette get together, and also give Marinette time to decide if this Adrian, who is a mix between Adrian and Cat Noir, is the one she's in love with, or if she's in love with a different version of Adrian that he has to present to the world because of his father. And I feel like maybe a one-sided reveal at the end of the season would really help Marinette if we have a love square reverse. Like I said, the love square reverse for Adrian, I don't think it matters that much because he's always been fine with Marinette being Ladybug, and in my opinion he does have a crush on her. And whilst I feel like we could argue that maybe Ladybug does slightly have a crush on Cat Noir, I definitely don't feel like the evidence is as compelling for Adrian having a crush on Marinette. And it's also been made quite clear to us that Ladybug doesn't have any feelings for him. So a love square reverse, in my opinion, is needed more for Marinette to fall for the real Adrian rather than for Adrian to fall for Marinette. Because as the relationship stands right now, if Adrian and Marinette were to date each other like this, that would be the most toxic relationship ever. And the love square reverse could be just as easy as her starting to appreciate Cat Noir, like in Psychomedian. In Psychomedian, he was absolutely amazing. That's why this hurts even more to see him being left out, because he was absolutely amazing. I know he didn't win the fight completely on his own, but to me he definitely was, you know, he was kind of in charge, the one who saved the day. He made sure Ladybug was safe, made sure no one got her earrings, made sure no one saw who she was, made sure she didn't de-transform, made sure she was safe, helped with a lucky charm. Just, he was absolutely wonderful in Psychomedian. Honestly, this might be a controversial opinion, but in my opinion, Psychomedian has been one of the best episodes this season. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. But anyway, he was absolutely amazing, which is why him being left out is hurting even more. And as we saw, I think it was last week or the week before, Linda Lee Rose, another of the, I think she was an ambassador? Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, ignore me. She had said that there are going to be some villains that become heroes and heroes that become villains. And in the video I did talking about it, I said I feel that right now the most likely hero to become a villain would be Cat Noir. Now I feel like though villain could be very misleading, I don't necessarily think this means that he's going to work with Shadow Daddy. I mean, it could of course mean that, but I feel like it could just be an akumatization. They become an Akuma villain, that's what they're called for the duration of the episode, an Akuma villain. Or he could just be someone who isn't necessarily on Shadow Daddy's side and he doesn't get akumatized, but for a certain period of time works against Ladybug for whatever reason, doesn't come to help her, and is kind of a villain in that way. I feel like the title of villain could be interpreted in different ways, and I feel that right now, with the way their relationship stands, he is the most likely to become a villain out of all of the heroes. However, that being said, I don't feel like the heroes to villains thing is going to be something that's permanent or that will last forever, because Adrian, as we all know, is made out of sunshine. I don't think he could be evil for a long period of time. He just wants Ladybug to talk to him at this point, and I think apologise, and I don't think he's asking for too much. So as we all know, this season is meant to end on a cliffhanger, and I think that cliffhanger could be maybe Adrian going to the dark side in some capacity and Ladynoir ending up in complete tatters. I don't feel like there's enough time to resolve all of this, and whilst I wish the season would end with a Ladynoir on the mend, I don't think that's going to happen. And I think the relationship will end up like that at the end of this season, whether or not Adrian reveals his identity. But definitely something huge needs to happen in order to make Ladybug cry like that. And also, speaking of the finale, so I already did quite a while ago a screaming session on Catalyst and Mayura. And in Catalyst and Mayura, I think it's in Mayura, so Rena Rouge, Carapace and Queen Bee all get akumatized with the Scarlet Akumas. Ladybug and Cat Noir go down to the sewers, our favourite location, to recharge, regroup, think of their new plan. And this probably isn't going to be verbatim, but after they de-transform, there's that wall between them. Adrian says, "Then let's go back to what's always worked. A duo. Just you and me against the world, my lady." They also say something similar to each other in Miracle Queen. They hug together when they're transformed with the aqua power-ups. They've just spoken to Long about what's happening, about Master Fu. They also have a similar moment right before they defeat the rest of the heroes. And I feel this is going to break my heart if it happens. So we've had two finales, the previous two finales, they've had like a team duo bonding moment, a moment where their relationship has been really solid and they've been like, yes, we can do it together. Yes, we can do it together. It's just been us since the start, so let's go back to what's always worked and take down whatever the villain in the finale is. Let's take him down, the two of us together. Now, can you imagine? Just picture it. Final theory. Can you imagine? What if Ladybug says, in a last-ditch attempt to get Cat Noir back on her side, she says, "It's just you and me against the world, kitty." And he just says no and walks off. Can you imagine? They done it in the season 3 finale, they did it in the season 2 finale. What if this time Ladybug says it and Cat Noir finally had enough with her excuses and her lies and secrets, because that's the whole theme of this season, lies and secrets. What if he's finally had enough and says, no, do it yourself, you've got this whole team of superheroes, I'm out. That would break me more than Sock Plague. Sock Plague almost killed me. This? No. I cannot. And I think at that point, whether that's the cliffhanger it ends on or we get some insight onto what's going to happen next season, I genuinely feel that the only person who could bring this relationship back from the ashes is Luca. We all know in Wishmaker episode 18 he found out their identities, and he really has done nothing with that information. He did kind of help Marinette out in Ephemeral, but that no longer happened. Luca, technically, from what Marinette and Adrian remember, has done absolutely nothing since finding out their identities. He has done literally nothing apart from stand in the sewers. That is all Luca has done. He has done nothing else. So I feel like it has to be paid off somewhere. You can't have a character find that out and nothing happen. We saw Alia find out Marinette's identity in the end of Gang of Secrets, and that's paid off numerous times. Mr. Pigeon 72 with the charms. Episode 13 Optigami, she really helped save the day. Episode 14 Senti Bubbler, she really helped to save the day. Also at the end of Optigami she got to keep a Miraculous permanently. She really helped out in Rocketeer. So obviously Alia finding out has paid off, but we haven't seen any payoff for Luca. And obviously he knows both of their identities, so whatever the payoff is going to be, it's going to be something a lot bigger than what happened with Alia. in my opinion. So I feel like Luca is going to be the one to repair all this because he knows both of their identities, and he also has like the mind of a 70-year-old trapped in the body of a 14-year-old, but... So those were all of my ideas for the Ladynoir relationship moving towards the finale. I don't think we'll get much development in Penalty just because of the nature of the episode. I feel like they're just going to save it all for the finale. But as far as like the villain and other plot things that happen in the finale, I don't know yet. I'll have some more predictions for that when we get the trailers and release dates and other fun stuff. Does anyone else feel ill thinking about the finale? Because I do. I'm scared. So I'd really love to know what you think is going to happen to Ladynoir in the finale. Do you think it will end in a complete mess? Do you think the finale will end with them starting to get back together to back what they used to have? Or are you like me, it's going to be like, no, it's not going to be fixed properly until next season. Like, they don't have enough time to fix this, but I feel like the intention is for it to be a mess until next season. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think, besties, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!